So, seeing as the Nintendo Wii is almost 20 years old, I thought I should create the largest Wii iceberg on the internet and cover it in this video. At the top are the most well-known Wii-related facts, and as we progress further down, the entries become more strange, obscure, and eventually disturbing. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Make sure to like and subscribe, and now, let's begin with Layer 1 of the deepest Wii iceberg. Wii Sports. Wii Sports was Nintendo's very simple showcase for the Wii's new motion controls. Included as a pack-and-launch title, Wii Sports bundled together 5 easy-to-grasp games: tennis, bowling, baseball, golf, and boxing. Seeing your on-screen Mii character swing exactly as you did made it the perfect demo for grandparents, little kids, and everyone in between because, at this point in time, there was nothing else like it. Wii Sports would go on to become one of the highest selling video games of all time. I mean, you'd be crazy not to have at least heard of Wii Sports before. Mii's. A Mii was Nintendo's simple, cartoon-like avatar system introduced on the Wii, which let players create little digital versions of themselves. They show up in a plethora of Wii games, and even went on to feature in consoles like the Switch, 3DS, Wii U, the DS in like 4 games. Wii Remote and Nunchuck. The Wii Remote and Nunchuck were the unconventional controller setup designed to make the Wii games feel more physical. The Wii Remote is a controller that is shaped like a TV remote, and it used motion sensors, infrared pointing, and simple buttons so you could swing it like a bat, aim it like a pointer, or tilt it like a steering wheel. The Nunchuck plugged into the bottom and added an analog stick plus extra motion sensing, giving games a more traditional control when needed without losing the Wii's signature motion controls. If you wanted something even more classic, there was the Classic Controller and the Classic Controller Pro, which is the same, but now it has thighs. Nintendo Wi-Fi Connection. Nintendo Wi-Fi Connection was the online service for the Nintendo Wii and DS, letting players connect from all over the world without any subscription fee. It was built around a friend code system, keeping things accessible even for people who'd never played online games before. Granted, that friend code system was fucking horrible, but the service ran from 2005 and shut down in 2014, and even with its limitations, it was pretty iconic. By no means was it good, but you could tell that Nintendo was trying to achieve a kinda space-themed aesthetic with this online service, which is quite interesting. It beats the corporate slop aesthetic, or whatever Nintendo Switch Online's going for. We would like to play. We would like to play is the tagline that these two Japanese men would say in Nintendo's 2006 line of Wii commercials.
We would like to play.
These commercials always show the whole family getting in on the action and doing these over-the-top motions that show, hey, you can swing our controller. This was done to kind of pander to adults who may have kids, since they'll see a family having fun playing a relatively cheaper console compared to its competitors, thus making them buy one. Wii Channels. Wii Channels were a part of the Wii's unique TV-like interface. Basically, every one of the console's features lived inside its own little channel tile that you could click into. For example, there was the Mii channel for creating Miis, the photo channel for viewing and editing pictures, and the Wii Shop channel for downloading games and apps. Nintendo also added some less necessary ones like the forecast and news channels, which presented real-world info into this cool globe-spinning format. There was also the Check Me Out channel, which let players share Miis globally, and the Everybody Votes channel, which turned data collection into a fun activity. There were a bunch more Wii channels, but I'll get into some of these more obscure ones later into the video. Mario Kart Wii. Mario Kart Wii was Nintendo's Mario Kart release for the Wii, built solely around the motion controls. It introduced the Wii Wheel, letting you steer by turning the remote like an actual wheel. You could still use button controls, of course, but they were really pushing for the Wii Wheel to be a thing. The game featured 32 tracks, half new, half retro, plus a huge roster of characters and vehicles, including bikes for the first time, and online play was done through Nintendo WFC, which was a massive part of its popularity even nowadays. WiiWare. WiiWare was Nintendo's digital game service for the Wii, launched in 2008 through the Wii Shop channel. It was designed to let smaller developers release their own original games without a physical disc, often experimental indie-style projects. WiiWare didn't allow for games larger than 40 megabytes in size, so most titles ended up looking like this. There were some pretty great games released through WiiWare, but yeah, a majority of them just weren't of very high quality. Wii Keyboard. Now that we've entered Layer 2, we can finally start talking about, actually interesting things. It wouldn't be an iceberg chart without a Layer 1, so I decided to keep it as brief as I could while still covering the main topics. Alright, anyways, the Wii Keyboard is this white Wii branded keyboard which was created in partnership with Logitech. The reason for this keyboard's existence was mainly for the Wii's internet channel, which required a lot of typing in order to open web pages and whatnot. Considering how tedious and annoying it was to type with the Wii's pointer controls, having a USB keyboard does sound pretty cool. And so this was created, and I can officially say that I am a proud owner of the Wii keyboard. Not sure what I'm ever going to do with this thing. Food Delivery Channel. The Food Delivery Channel, or Deme Channel, was a Japan-only Wii channel released in partnership with Demaikan, a popular online food delivery service. The channel would let you browse local restaurants, see menus, and place delivery orders directly through the Wii. Payments would work the same way they did on the Demaikan website, which was cash on delivery or whatever the restaurant accepted, since the Wii itself wasn't handling the transactions. It wasn't really a widely known channel outside of Japan, but it's one of the most interesting examples of Nintendo treating the Wii as an everything device. Mario Galaxy Phone Call. When Mario Galaxy released in 2007, if you were a customer that pre-ordered the game at GameStop, you could receive a promotional voicemail from Super Mario himself. Take a listen.
Hi, I'm Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, and you may know me a little better like this. Hello, it's me, Mario, woohoo! And I'ma call you because I'm here at the GameStop where they telling me that you pre-ordered my newest and the greatest game, Super Mario Galaxy, woohoo! It's an amazing game, and it's gonna be here tomorrow at your local GameStop. You can come and pick it up at the GameStop store where you originally reserved your copy. Whoopee!
Nintendo Week. Nintendo Week was a weekly video show that ran on the Nintendo channel from 2009 to 2012, produced in-house by Nintendo of America. It was basically Nintendo's own part TV show, part marketing, part entertainment, part I don't know. Released every Monday as a new episode you could stream directly from your Wii. Episodes consisted of game previews, interviews, behind-the-scenes segments, skits, and hands-on demonstrations of upcoming Wii, DS, and at one point, 3DS titles. Because it lived exclusively inside the Nintendo channel, it wasn't really as widely seen as something like a Nintendo Direct. But for Wii owners who followed it weekly, it was a unique era, and one of the last times Nintendo tried to run a full-on hosted video program. YouTube XL. YouTube XL was a special TV-optimized version of YouTube designed for devices that didn't yet have full YouTube apps. Instead of the regular YouTube layout, XL used huge text and a super simplified interface so you could navigate everything with a Wii remote from across the room. On the Wii, YouTube XL could be accessed from the Wii's internet channel, although when the Wii eventually got its own dedicated YouTube channel, YouTube XL was basically pointless. On June 9th, 2023, YouTube XL was officially discontinued on all supporting devices. Wii and DS cross-compatibility. The Wii and Nintendo DS were designed as separate systems, but in the 2000s, Nintendo loved finding small little ways for them to talk to each other. Early in the Wii's life cycle, Nintendo pitched the DS almost like a bonus controller for certain games and applications. One of the earliest examples I can think of was Pokémon Battle Revolution, which let you kind of use the DS as a controller. Instead of navigating menus with the Wii remote, you could connect Pokémon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, or Soul Silver, and get the full touchscreen control of every command during battles. I think another major example was the Wii's Nintendo channel, which allowed DS owners to download game demos directly to the handheld. This feature, called DS Download Service, kinda turned the Wii into one of those Nintendo's own kiosks, if you remember those. You could browse a list of a bunch of different DS demos and transmit them wirelessly to any DS within range. Download Assistants. Download Assistants were these little stub channels on the Wii that would let you download a real channel. Basically, if you wanted to download the Check Me Out channel from the Wii shop, it would first install this Download Assistant version to your menu. If you click through the assistant and download the channel, this renders the stub version useless. You're given the option to delete the assistant if you'd like, but I don't know, I always liked keeping them on my menu. Wii Phone. The Wii Phone is an iconic fake console that comes from an article on Gizmodo.com titled Nintendo Wii Phone Rumor, published by Brian Lim on February 8th, 2007. He states,
T3 found a patent for a Nintendo gaming phone. Could it be a channel on the Wii, using the Wii remote as a handset? Maybe. I'm not getting my feathers riled up on this one, though. What is getting me randy is that Photoshop job on the left, based on the patent art. Me likey.
That may be the most 2007 article I've ever read. Anyways, yes, the iconic Wii Phone image was actually based on a patent from 6 years prior. In 2001, Nintendo filed a patent for a phone that had both calling and texting functionality, as well as the ability to play games. The images provided with the patent show Super Mario Bros. Running on a phone, which has all the standard phone buttons, but now with a D-pad and A and B buttons. The original patent image does bear a large resemblance to the Wii phone image that would emerge years later. I mean, down to the button placement, the images are practically the same, just one has Wii branding and the other one doesn't. But this Gizmodo article obviously isn't the place where the Wii phone would gain notoriety. That's because around a year later after this article was published, on April 19th, 2008, YouTube user Video Game AF would drop one of the most iconic early YouTube videos.
Let the bodies hit the...
Among other super real and believable leaks like the Nintendo DS closed, PS4, and PS4 again, lies the Wii phone. Hands down, this video is probably one of the greatest things ever uploaded to the platform. The Future Gen Consoles video is so good because it perfectly captures that early YouTube era where kids were absolutely convinced they were breaking industry news with these shitty Photoshop edits. Also, the background music is Bodies by Drowning Pool. It's like you can feel the 2008 just radiating off this video. Woohoo Island. Woohoo Island is one of Nintendo's most iconic fictional locations, first appearing in Wii Sports Resort in 2009. I mean, technically it appeared in Wii Fit first, but it didn't receive the name Woohoo Island until Wii Sports Resort. It was designed as a tropical island paradise meant to serve as a hub for a variety of minigames and sport activities. The island itself was notable for its surprisingly detailed design, complete with mountains, beaches, rivers, and even a small town. It has cars driving around, surrounding islands, tunnels going through the ground. This was way too detailed to be only used in like 3 games. Interestingly, Woohoo Island is said to be inspired by a combination of real-world locations, such as Okinawa, Japan, and various other tropical islands. Gossip Girl. Gossip Girl refers to the multiple times that the Wii was featured or referenced in the 2000s teen drama Gossip Girl. Firstly, in Season 4, Episode 16, around 24 minutes into the episode, Nate and Reina are depicted playing Just Dance on the Nintendo Wii. Similarly to his character in the show, the actor who plays Nate, Chase Crawford, was interviewed in 2009 at the launch event for Wii Sports Resort in New York City. He was seen playing the Wii at one of those kiosks that were set up, and told interviewers how much he enjoys playing on the Wii just like his character in Gossip Girl. In Chuck Bass's penthouse, the fact that he keeps a Wii in it is mentioned on several occasions, and in a specific scene whose episode I cannot find for the life of me, people are seen playing Wii Sports Boxing on the TV behind Chuck. Frutiger Arrow. Frutiger Arrow is a design aesthetic that emerged in the mid-2000s and is closely tied to the era of Web 2.0 and the rise of friendly consumer-focused interfaces. Visually, Frutiger Arrow is characterized by glossy, semi-transparent elements, soft gradients, bright and vivid color palettes, particularly blues and teals, and clean, approachable typography. It's essentially a tech optimism aesthetic designed to make digital interfaces feel both sophisticated and inviting. Although Frutiger Arrow was not created specifically for the Nintendo Wii, the console's design language shares many similarities with this aesthetic. Some more examples of Frutiger Arrow elements in the Wii environment include the forecasted news channels, Woohoo Island, Wii Sports, certain worlds in Mario Galaxy, and even some old promotional art gives off this vibe. Pets in Wii Fit Plus. Wii Fit Plus was an expanded version of Wii Fit that released shortly after the original game. Alongside adding new features like more minigames and a more detailed diet tracking system, you could also weigh your pets. If you held your cat or your dog and then stepped onto the balance board, it would use your standalone weight and then calculate how much your pet would approximately weigh. I don't think this was really all that accurate, but it's a really cool feature I don't see talked about nearly as much as it should be. Minecraft. Even though the Wii never received a true Minecraft release like the Wii U and 3DS did, Minecraft was playable on the Wii in some capacity. This was through Voxelcraft and Cavex, 2 different homebrew applications. Starting with Voxelcraft, this was a homebrew voxel engine for the Nintendo Wii, created by developer Dave Fennick. It allows players to place and remove blocks in a seemingly infinite world, kind of like Minecraft. You navigate the environment using the Wii Remote nunchuck, with the pointer controlling the camera rotation and the analog stick controlling movement, and the buttons used to add or remove blocks. Cavex, short for Cave Explorer, is a more ambitious Wii homebrew project that attempted to recreate the experience of Minecraft Beta 1.7.3 on the console. Cavex is a full rewrite of the game's core mechanics optimized for the Wii's hardware. Cavex features most of the original game's blocks, basic lighting, day and night cycles, and even the nether dimension. Wii Chess. Wii Chess is a chess game for the Nintendo Wii, developed by Landcars and published by Nintendo. It released in Europe in 2008 and later as WiiWare in Japan under the name Sushin Taikyoku World Chess. The game offers standard chess gameplay on an 8x8 board, as well as local 2-player matches, and when Nintendo Wi-Fi connection was active, online multiplayer. This makes it the only Wii series game to feature online multiplayer, and also the only one not to feature Mii characters. It also does not use motion controls. Man, what did this game have? Board themes? Putting board themes aside, the game's presentation was considered notably bland, and its lack of a release in North America limited its reach by a lot. PS Move and Kinect. The PS Move and Kinect were Sony and Microsoft's direct responses to Nintendo Wii's revolutionary motion controls, which had reshaped the console landscape after the Wii's launch. Nintendo had tapped into this new audience of casual gamers and families by making games more physically interactive and accessible. Both Sony and Microsoft recognized the appeal and commercial potential of this market and designed hardware and games to compete directly with Nintendo's Wii. Funnily enough, the guy who pitched the motion control tech to Nintendo actually pitched it to both Sony and Microsoft beforehand, and both declined working with him. Anyways, the PlayStation Move, released in 2010, used a combination of a handheld controller with this weird glowing orb on it, and the PlayStation Eye camera to track movement. Sony marketed it as a more technically advanced and accurate motion control system than the Wii Remote, targeting both casual gamers and core PlayStation fans. Games like Sports Champions and, I can't think of another one, showcased the move's precision and versatility, though it never fully captured the broad audience that the Wii did, since Sony spent the PS3's earlier years marketing it as a real console for real gamers. They also ended up making a Smash Bros. Clone for PS3, and that wasn't really received all too well either. Alright, the Xbox Kinect, also released in 2010, took a bit of a different approach. Instead of using a handheld controller, Kinect used an array of cameras and depth sensors to track the player's entire body, allowing for controller-free gameplay. Kinect was designed to appeal to the same casual and family-oriented demographic as the Wii, offering game experiences like dancing, sports, and exercise. Both the Move and Kinect were essentially just attempts to replicate and surpass the Wii's motion gaming formula, though the only problem is that the trend had considerably died down by the time they released these devices. Queen Elizabeth's Golden Wii. In 2009, the game publisher THQ commissioned a unique 24-karat gold-plated Nintendo Wii, along with a copy of their shovelware minigame collection Big Family Games, with the intention of gifting it to Queen Elizabeth II and her family. According to THQ, the idea was that the royal family deserved a special console, rather than a standard white Wii, in order to promote the game and grab media attention. However, and perhaps unsurprisingly, the Golden Wii never ended up in the Queen's hands. For security and protocol reasons, the gift was refused by Buckingham Palace and returned to THQ. Over the years, after THQ went bankrupt, the Golden Wii was passed into private hands and eventually became a collector's item. Touch Generation Soundtrack. In 2006, Nintendo of Japan released a Club Nintendo exclusive Touch Generation soundtrack CD. This was a promotional album that tied directly into the company's push to make the Nintendo DS and Wii appeal to non-gamers. You had to redeem 400 Club Nintendo points to obtain this disc, making it extremely rare today. It featured music and jingles from the Touch Generations line of DS and Wii games, and the final 2 tracks on the album are very cool exclusive live performance versions of both the Wii Sports and Nintendogs title themes. Wii Series. The Wii Series refers to a set of games that were branded around the Wii, often featuring motion controls and family-friendly gameplay designed to take advantage of the system's motion sensing capabilities. With the obvious exception of Wii Chess, of course. The core games in the Wii series include Wii Sports, Wii Sports Resort, Wii Sports Club, Wii Play Motion, Wii Fit, Wii Fit Plus, Wii Fit U, Wii Party U, Wii Chess, Wii Music, Wii Karaoke U, and that's it, because I honestly don't think Switch Sports should be considered a part of the same series since it doesn't have Wii in its title and it is the Wii series after all. News broadcasts. So this entry on the Iceberg chart simply refers to the copious amounts of news channels that were covering the Wii around launch. Some were praising it for its motion controls, some were destroying their TVs, and some were interviewing people who claimed they had Wii-itis. I can't believe 2006 was real. Wii cars. Marketing cars, as I've coined them, have always been quite a fascinating topic to me. Like when you see a car on the road that is just plastered in branding for some kind of media or product. And from 2006 until now, the Nintendo Wii has received many different cars based around it. Let me explain what I mean. Our first example comes from when Nintendo made the decision to have Wii-branded cars participate in NASCAR races. Starting in 2007, we had the NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, whose number 16 Ford Fusion sported a Nintendo Wii-themed paint job. This collaboration between Nintendo and Roush Fenway Racing aimed to merge the worlds of both motorsport and gaming, capitalizing on the growing popularity of the Wii, as it was still fairly new at the time of this race. The partnership was officially announced in July of 2007, with the Wii-branded car making its debut at Watkins Glen International on August 12, 2007. The car featured a blue and white design prominently displaying the Wii logo. According to a page on Nintendo's website, which is now completely gone and not preserved, they said that through a sweepstakes, you could win an expense-free trip to the race, $250 cash, VIP passes to the garage, and even challenge Greg himself to a game of Wii Sports. The next Wii NASCAR sponsorship would occur in 2008, where two cars that were owned by the Chip Ganassi racing team would have Wii Fit branding on them. These were the number 16 IndyCar Series vehicle in the Indianapolis 500 and the number 40 NASCAR vehicle in the Coca-Cola 600, held in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Wii Fit is an easy way for every member of the family to keep active and play together, and we felt this day of auto racing was a perfect match.
This is a quote from Steve Bickham of Nintendo America, stating why Wii Fit branding would appear on the race cars. It was Alex Lloyd who would drive the Wii Fit IndyCar vehicle, and Sterling Martin who would drive the Wii Fit NASCAR vehicle. That same year, racer Joey Logan would drive this car at the Stater Brothers 300, taking place at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. This car is themed after Mario Kart Wii, and was a partnership with GameStop. The final Wii NASCAR sponsorship would take place a year later in 2009, when pro driver Denny Hamlin got behind the wheel of a new Super Mario Bros. Wii-themed car. There would also be a Mario Kart 8 theme that Matt Kenseth would drive a few years later to promote the Wii U. But aside from that, these four cars were the only instances of Wii branding appearing in NASCAR races and other similar races. However, this wasn't it for Wii branded cars, since in 2006, when the Wii was first rolled out to the public, there was an ad campaign Nintendo ran called the Wii Would Like to Play commercials. You remember this, right? I talked about it in Layer 1. Well, there were multiple of these commercials created, however a 2-minute supercut shows that they all kind of connect to each other, because in between each commercial, the businessmen both enter and exit their vehicle at the start and end of each ad. This car is what is called a smart car, you know, the kind of things you'd catch yourself making fun of if you saw someone driving it on the road. Specifically, this is a 2006 model Smart 42. Now, this is cool and all, but this isn't what's really interesting about the Smart 42 car. This is because in the summer of 2007, Nintendo launched one of the Wii's most unusual promotional campaigns, the Key to Summer Fun Tour. Basically, a fleet of smart cars all decked out with bold Wii branding drove across major Canadian cities such as Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and Montreal. Wherever the cars stopped, those passing by could step right up and play the Wii in an unexpected car setting. Just like the whole NASCAR promotion, this event also featured a sweepstakes. Participants could enter online for a chance to win a trip to Toronto, where they would take part in a key event on September 1st, 2007. That lucky winner would find that their key actually started a Smart 42 car, which came bundled with a Wii. The last Wii car was related to a set of Comedy Central promotions that ran from 2006 to 2010, where you could win yourself one if you wrote down a bunch of codes from their special program on TV. I've talked about this more in depth in other videos of mine, so go watch those if you're interested. Insensitive unused Wii Fit animations. In the files of Wii Fit, there's a few unused animations that would play when your weight is determined to be overweight, underweight, or obese. They show your Mii character inflating or deflating like a balloon, which would be pretty humiliating, and considering people were already complaining about Wii Fit being insensitive in its released state, having these in the game would not help its case. The end of the Wii calendar. If you go to the Wii's message board and scroll all the way to the right, you'll find that the Wii's calendar only goes up to December 31st, 2035. Meaning that we only have 10 more years until certain features on the Wii message board may be rendered unusable. Despite the system calendar only going up to 2035, certain Wii games such as Wii Fit can actually pass this date with their in-game calendars. Wii Deleted You. Wii Deleted You is a pretty popular video game creepypasta based around the Nintendo Wii. It originated online around 2017 and gained popularity in the internet horror community particularly among fans of haunted or cursed video game stories. The narrative centers on the Nintendo Wii and its digital avatars, the Miis. At the heart of the Wii Deleted You story is Edeled, a Mii character whose name is Delete spelled backwards. Edeled is described as haunted and carries the spirit of a former Nintendo employee named Henry. Henry's consciousness, or soul, somehow became trapped within the Wii system, manifesting as this eerie Mii. The plot begins when a child named Kyle in the original story receives a Wii console, and upon turning it on, he discovers that Edeled is already present on the system, even though the console is supposedly new. The horror escalates when Kyle tries to delete Edeled, believing that this action would remove the threat. Instead of vanishing, Edeled reappears mysteriously, suggesting that deletion is not permanent. Edeled proceeds to murder the Mii Kyle made of himself, mutilate the corpse, and basically render his Wii unusable. This Mii begins to haunt Kyle's console, and by extension, his life. I'll let you read the rest of it for yourself if you're interested, as there's many good retellings of the story on YouTube, but be warned that the story is super dated, and like this, you can tell this is like a product of its time, but it's a neat little story, I guess. Wii 2 leaks. Because of how revolutionary the Wii was on launch, with a gimmick unheard of in gaming until that point, the expectations were set very high for Nintendo's next console, the Wii 2 as fans dubbed it. One of the most popular Wii 2 leaks dropped on October 28th of 2008, when an article was posted to both the Max Console Gaming blog as well as the French gaming blog Logic Sunrise. These articles both contain the same information, that a Nintendo of France marketing employee had leaked some pretty big details about the Wii successor. According to their source, the Wii 2 would have a Blu-ray drive with a secondary aim of stopping piracy, 1080p video support for both Blu-ray movies and games, a late 2010 release date for all regions and countries, and the ability to trade in an original Wii for a cheaper price on the new Wii 2. Out of their 4 assumptions, they got 2 things right. The Wii U, the Wii successor, would have 1080p support, and you could trade in a Wii for a lower price on the new system, but the whole Blu-ray stuff was just entirely fake. I feel like all of these guesses as to what the Wii 2 could have had were all kind of in the realm of possibility, so this leak definitely was way more believable than the Wii phone I talked about earlier. But after this rumor came out, the floodgates basically opened for all sorts of Wii 2 images to come out, which would proceed to get stranger and stranger. A video on YouTube titled Wii 2 in 2012 has what I think is probably the weirdest Wii 2 leak on the internet. When I saw this supposed Wii 2 controller, a thought popped in my head, but it appears I don't even need to say it because the comments were already thinking the same thing. As the video progresses, one of the most absurd things I've ever read comes up on screen. The new Wii headset accessory uses brainwaves to control characters, and also features immersive in-ear headphones. Yes, because the next step up from motion controls is obviously mind control. Got it. But like I said, the Wii 2 leaks would only get weirder as this image would also start appearing on internet forums and whatnot. Here we can see a cheap plastic Wii-looking box that is projecting a hologram of Pikachu. This image actually sent me down a rabbit hole when trying to find its origins because that cheap plastic-looking box actually does exist. It's just not the Wii 2. It's actually the Eurogaming VMAX 16. This is a low-quality bootleg Wii clone that came from Singapore. They actually sold it under a different name depending on the region it was in too, as you could find many different images where this same console is branded as the Wii. Matt and Guest C Punch Dolls. Popularized from a line of TikTok videos, a man who goes by Hurt Abdul created these punch dummies of both the Matt and Guest C Mii characters. Most of his TikToks show him dropping it in very foot-trafficked cities with the words "Hit Me" written on the dolls. People would punch the doll and then go about their day. He has actually started selling these on his website, hurtabdul.com, and man, I kinda want one of these things, so make sure to like and subscribe and comment and hype the video and do all that, please, and thank you. Nintendo Museum. The Nintendo Museum, which opened in October 2024 in Uji, Kyoto, is Nintendo's first permanent, full-scale historical exhibition. It's built on the same ground as the company's former Agura plant, and is designed as a curated walk through Nintendo's entire lifespan. The Wii is represented prominently in the museum's upstairs historic products section, where the console, Wii Remote, Nunchuck, and Balance Board appear alongside boxed games like Wii Sports and Wii Fit. The museum also includes special themed areas that group items by concepts such as movement or music. In those sections, the Wii era stands out for ushering in a new wave of motion-based interaction, so for example, you can play Wii Sports Resort with a massive Wii remote. Like, the thing is huge. The museum's gift shop, called the Bonus Stage, is nearly as famous as the museum itself. Every major Nintendo console, including the Wii, got its own section in the gift shop. For example, they sold giant Wii remote pillows, controller keychains, shirts, mugs, notebooks, stickers, pens. It's honestly really cool how much effort Nintendo put into their museum. Once I make it in life, I already know my first travel destination on the bucket list. Nintendo was flattered by Xbox's avatars. So this entry refers to the fact that Reggie Fils-Aimé claimed Nintendo was very flattered by Nintendo's inclusion of avatars on the Xbox 360. He stated,
"Copying is a way of flattering, so we're very flattered."
Camp Hyrule 2006. Camp Hyrule was an annual online virtual camp website that was sponsored and moderated by Nintendo of America. It first opened in the summer of 1995, and emerged as Nintendo's biggest online event they'd probably ever hold. Camp Hyrule, which was usually held in August, allowed Nintendo fans to chat, play online flash games, and win prizes under the supervision of Nintendo employees. Specifically in 2006, the theme for Camp Hyrule was Super Mario Galaxy, as the Wii had released that year, and this was kind of a celebration of that. All of the flash games that were available on CampHyrule.com in 2006 have been preserved. Those games being Camp Hyrule Meteor Shower, Camp Hyrule Virus Attack, Black Hole, and Stumpy SOS. Camp Hyrule would run for one more year in 2007, and then they would stop doing Camp Hyrule altogether. Moranbong. The Moranbong is an obscure North Korean video game console that drew attention in 2019 when state media showcased it as the country's answer to motion-controlled gaming. This system uses wand-like controllers with motion sensors and an optical camera-based tracking system. Wow, that sounds, familiar. In practice, the Moranbong is believed to be a rebranded version of a Chinese Android-based console called the Sea Dragon Cassidy G80, just now repurposed for the North Korean market. The games shown in demonstrations include simple sports, fitness programs, and educational titles, all of which aligned with North Korean messaging around health and productivity. Horizon's Roof and Exterior Solutions. Located in Texas, a company called Horizon's Roof and Exterior Solutions used a Mii character in their logo, which can also be seen on their lawn signs. Supposedly this logo is still being used today, which is surprising. I would have thought Nintendo would sue them already, but hey, I guess not. Unofficial Mii Makers. Back in the 2000s, when the Wii was hot and new, the Mii Maker was one of the most captivating features. Even people who didn't have a Wii wanted to make Miis. And so, some people created PC counterparts to the Wii's Mii Maker, one of which called Mii Editor, which was literally the same as the Wii's down to the graphics and everything. There was another more uncanny web-based one, but Mii Editor was seen as the best free Mii Maker alternative. It even got some media coverage from outlets like CNET. Nintendo finally wins lawsuit. Nintendo has finally secured a legal victory in a patent dispute that dates all the way back to 2010, when they sued Big Ben Interactive, which is now known as Nacon, over an unofficial Wii Remote controller. Nintendo argued that Big Ben's controller infringed on its patented Wii Remote technology, and that its presence on the market directly cost Nintendo sales on its official hardware. While Nintendo won an early ruling in 2011, establishing that its patents were valid and infringed, the case dragged on for years as Nacon challenged how much Nintendo should actually be paid in damages. A key point in Nintendo's favor was that the court's agreement that Nintendo's patents were so fundamental that no competing third-party controller could realistically exist without infringing on them. Now, 15 years later, Nintendo has been awarded a judgment worth roughly $7 million, with about half representing direct damages, and the rest coming from accumulated interest due to the prolonged legal process. The long delay was largely because of Nacon's repeated legal maneuvers to postpone a final decision on damages, and even now the fight isn't completely over as Nacon is appealing the verdict, further delaying their payment. But yeah, as of December 20th, 2025, Nintendo has finally secured their victory in this lawsuit. Wii Helmet. The Wii Helmet, or Wii Helm as it says on the thing, was a fake Wii accessory that circulated the internet back when the Wii was new. IGN wrote an article about it saying that a company called ThinkGeek was making a Wii Helmet in order to eliminate the chance of wrist injuries when playing with the Wii Remote. There's a reason this thing never came to be. I feel like you'd get fucking whiplash trying to play tennis by moving your head around. Forecast Channel Vinyl. Discussion about a Forecast Channel Vinyl release has been going around the internet recently. However, after looking into this, it is real, but it's unofficial. The vinyl has some pretty neat artwork and a cool tricolor design on the record itself, but profiting off of Nintendo's original work is like a speedrun to getting sued, so prayers to the dude who made this. Persona 5. So, on September 15th, 2016, Atlas Games released their highly anticipated RPG, Persona 5. And while this is a very detailed game in itself, there was one Easter egg in this game which is super cool. In one of the game's subway stations, a fake advertisement can be seen above an entrance sign, but through some further inspection, you can see that this is quite obviously a parody of a Japanese Wii Party advertisement. I mean, the logo looks nearly identical, just saying V Party instead of Wii Party to avoid copyright issues. Wii Self-Defense. Wii Self-Defense is a previously lost, now partially recovered prototype game for the Nintendo Wii, first revealed during a Bring It Studios livestream in late 2024. This game was discovered on a development hard drive, or a Wii test kit. A person found the hard drive and the Free Radical Archive group then purchased the games from that individual. The Free Radical Archive group is a team that is dedicated to archiving every cancelled game from the development studio Free Radical. The discovery of this hard drive allowed the FRD archive to make the games available, though they had to pay over $3,000 for the drive that they were stored on. Anyways, Wii Self-Defense was intended to be a fitness game that utilized the Wii's motion controls. However, the project was never completed or released to the public, and its existence remained largely unknown until the aforementioned Bring It Studios livestream from almost a year ago. Wii Sports Beta. The lost Wii Sports Beta build, primarily known through archival footage and community research, is probably one of the most sought-after pieces of Wii-related lost media. Showcased at E3 2006, the beta notably featured an airplane minigame that was ultimately scrapped from the final release of Wii Sports. This early version of the game included 4 playable sports: tennis, baseball, golf, and the aforementioned airplane. Yes, boxing and bowling weren't even considered for the final release of the game until early 2006. This airplane minigame allowed players to pilot a small aircraft around a cartoonish island, navigating through rings within a time limit. This concept was notably similar to the later island flyover mode from Wii Sports Resort, suggesting that the airplane minigame served as a prototype for that minigame. The island location also bears a large resemblance to Woohoo Island, the location used in Wii Sports Resort, Wii Fit, and Pilot Wings Resort. One of the other intriguing aspects of the Wii Sports 2005 beta is the evolution of its minigames. In the beta version of tennis, it featured a more simplistic court design and less people in the crowd. The Mii characters also had ears for some reason, which is a detail seen in the early visions of all 3 minigames. Moving on to baseball, this minigame featured a completely different visual design for the stadium and field, as well as a completely unused hand select screen. Golf's beta was notably less polished as well, with fewer course options and simpler graphics. There was also a jetpack minigame planned for Wii Sports, whose only evidence proving its existence being one screenshot. It's unsure if this image comes from an actual playable build of the game, or if it's just some concept that Nintendo whipped together only to be seen internally within the development teams. If I had to guess what it is, it's probably a mock-up, but who knows. Auntie Sherry and Friends Pet Grooming Parlor. This is a building located in Ontario, Canada, and it's on this Iceberg chart because its exterior sign has Mii characters on it. Alright, adding that to my travel list. Forecast channel in-game functionality. Something you may or may not know is that the Wii Forecast channel actually had the ability to transfer real-time weather data from your location into certain games. Basically, if it was raining or snowing outside, it would rain or snow in the game. I know Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games supported this feature, and the Wii's Madden titles did as well. Club Nintendo Rewards. Club Nintendo was Nintendo's loyalty rewards program that they started in 2003 and discontinued in 2015, where they would award loyal customers with all kinds of Nintendo merchandise and memorabilia. The Wii in specific would receive a lot of Club Nintendo rewards, such as specific game soundtrack releases, special Wii remote designs, controller boxes, and in Japan, a whole TV remote that's made to look like a Wii remote. It didn't work on the Wii, but you could actually control your TV's volume and channels with it, which is super neat. My friend Chili made a great video about Club Nintendo if you want to go check that out. Wanted poster. In early 2009, police in the Kanagawa prefecture of Japan released an unusual wanted poster related to a hit-and-run incident. Instead of using a traditional sketch or photograph of the suspect, the poster featured a digital character created with the Wii's Mii channel. Despite the widespread attention this case got because of how bizarre it was, there is no clear record that the Mii wanted poster directly led to the suspect's capture. In fact, we don't even know if the suspect was captured at all. This whole thing was kind of just thought to be more of an experiment from the Japanese police, as they never really used Mii's as a precise identification method ever again. Probably because it's just not very precise. Digicam Print Channel. The Digicam Print Channel was a Japan-exclusive Wii channel that allowed users to order real-world printed goods directly from their console. Launched in 2009, it was developed in partnership with Fujifilm and functioned as a simple photo printing service. You could import pictures from an SD card or from saved in-game screenshots, and then using preset templates you could place an order. The channel offered several types of printed products like basic photo prints, photo albums, and even business cards. And if you didn't want to put a picture on the business card, you could actually get a business card with your Mii character on it, which I've always thought was a pretty neat feature. TV no Tomo channel. The TV no Tomo channel was a Japan-exclusive Wii channel created through a partnership between Nintendo and G-Guide. Released in 2008, it was basically an interactive television guide that let you browse Japanese broadcast schedules from your Wii. Now, granted, you could just switch HDMIs and go browse the actual guide on your TV, but come on, this was still kinda cool. Kokeshi dolls. A kokeshi doll is a traditional Japanese wood doll known for its simple design and charming handmade feel. Originating in the Tohoku region of northern Japan, these dolls were first crafted in the 19th century by artisans who also made wooden bowls and other household items. The dolls typically have a very distinct look, a round head, a cylindrical body with no arms or legs, and hand-painted features. And if you take a look at a Mii character, you notice that they share the same characteristics. This was actually done intentionally by the team developing Mii characters, as there are reports that they were actually inspired by kokeshi dolls. Techno-Zen. The Techno-Zen aesthetic is a design philosophy that blends minimalism, futuristic technology, and a sense of calm, meditative simplicity. It's similar in a way to Fruitier Arrow, but still has an identity of its own. It often emphasizes clean lines, soft lighting, smooth curves, and a minimalist color palette, which is usually consisting of white, silver, and other muted pastels. This is to create an environment that feels both high-tech and soothing. It draws inspiration from modernist design and Japanese minimalism. On the Wii, the Techno-Zen aesthetic is evident in several ways. Firstly, the console itself is a sleek and simple white box, designed to feel approachable to a casual consumer. And something that I've always thought really fits into the whole Techno-Zen aesthetic design is the Wii no Ma channel, which is literally designed to be a simple Japanese-style home. Prototype controllers. So, because the Wii was being designed as a console that would enter uncharted territory, with its weird quirks and whatnot, the Wii Remote controller went through many designs before they landed on the final version. This is one of the earliest prototype versions of the Wii's signature controller, created while the console was still known by its codename Revolution. Unlike the final Wii Remote, this controller used a long cable and a standard GameCube controller plug so it could be tested on existing GameCube hardware during development. The prototype even had an early nunchuck connected with what looks like an Ethernet-style cable, and its sensor bar also used unusual connectors. Next, we have this early version of the Wii's Classic controller. While the released Classic controller is fairly well known among fans today, these earlier prototype versions looked quite different and are very rare. These development units were created to test how a more traditional gamepad layout would work alongside the motion-focused Wii Remote, particularly for Virtual Console titles and more complex games. Nintendo experimented with multiple shapes, button layouts, and even clear plastic shells before settling on the final design. Mario Kart Wii's Wii Wheel accessory also went through a similar evolution as the Classic controller, where the developers created nearly 50 different prototype versions before settling on the final design. The last Wii prototype controller that is worth mentioning is this absurd circular star thing. This was actually going to be the Wii's signature controller before the Wii Remote was decided on, and man, I just, how would this even work? There's a grand total of 4 buttons, and as far as I can see, no way for motion controls to be integrated. Fun little fact though, this controller as well as a bunch of never before seen ones can actually be found at the Nintendo Museum. There is a blue version of this orange star controller, as well as the infamous green Wii Remote, and even an early version of the Wii Balance Board, potentially. 3DS ports. So, during the 3DS's lifespan, many Wii games were actually ported to the system. The most notable of which was Donkey Kong Country Returns, which was originally a Wii revival of the classic SNES series, notable for its difficulty and precision platforming. The 3DS port basically just added new levels, rebalanced difficulty, and optional features were added like a extra hit point mode to make the game more accessible. It also allowed the players to use traditional button controls instead of the Wii's motion inputs, making it kind of the definitive version despite the visual downgrade. At least that was until the Switch port. Next was Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. This version of Kirby's Epic Yarn added new modes, abilities, and minigames, while retaining the original famously non-existent difficulty and yarn art style. Cave Story was another game that originally released on the Wii in 2010, and was later brought to the Nintendo 3DS as Cave Story 3D, including arranged music and additional content. The 3DS version reworked the visuals into full 3D environments, though many fans still prefer the original pixel art style because it just kinda looks better. Originally a WiiWare physics puzzle game built around stacking objects with motion controls, Art of Balance was adapted for the 3DS with touchscreen-focused gameplay. Art of Balance Touch, as they called it, retained the same level design and minimalist presentation, while swapping the motion controls for stylus input, which actually kinda improves the experience. It also features some new levels too. Lastly, for today, Xenoblade Chronicles received a surprisingly faithful handheld port to the new Nintendo 3DS. Not the original 3DS line, mind you, only the new systems got this because of the game's demanding graphics. This version retained the massive open world structure while adding quality of life improvements like a jukebox and model viewer. 100 Gode Star Eikaiwa. 100 Gode Star Eikaiwa was a cancelled educational Wii game announced only once by Nintendo during their October 2, 2008 press conference. At the time, Nintendo revealed two titles co-developed with NHK, Japan's national public broadcaster. One was NHK Kohaku Quizgassen, which eventually released in 2010 and adapted NHK's famous New Year's Eve music show into a quiz-style Wii game, but the other project, however, was 100 Gode Star Eikaiwa, a Wii adaptation of NHK's long-running English learning program. The game was pitched as a family-friendly way to learn basic English vocabulary through the interactive lessons, Mii-based activities, and NHK produced video clips following the show's 100-word teaching method. Nintendo listed the title in planning documents through 2009 as unscheduled, but by late 2010 it just disappeared from release lists. No prototype, footage, or build has surfaced, and the only evidence of this game's existence comes from 3 screenshots and brief mentions in Nintendo financial reports. While the exact reason for the cancellation is unknown, it's likely that producing 2 NHK-backed Wii titles at once just proved too resource-heavy. I personally think that ideas or assets may have been reused for the released Kohaku Quizgassen, but with so little information available, there's no telling for sure. Wii Relax. Wii Relax is a cancelled Wii game that was filed as a trademark but never released. This was speculated to be software for the Wii Vitality Sensor. The Wii Vitality Sensor was an ambitious peripheral announced by Nintendo in 2009, designed to measure a player's pulse and stress levels while using the Wii. It was shaped like a small clip, and the device was intended to attach to a player's fingertip and provide real-time biometric feedback. Nintendo envisioned it being used in games and applications that could provide health insights, or even create relaxing experiences based on the player's heart rate. Despite the intriguing concept though, the Wii Vitality Sensor faced significant technical and practical challenges. Accurately reading a pulse in a variety of home environments proved difficult, and Nintendo struggled to design software that could meaningfully incorporate this biometric data into engaging gameplay. Due to these limitations, Nintendo cancelled the project before it could ever reach the market. The game Wii Relax was announced on the internet as a placeholder name for some sort of game that would use the Vitality Sensor. However, alongside the peripheral itself, it was ultimately cancelled. Winter. Winter was a survival horror game developed by N-Space around 2007 to 2008, which would have been a Wii exclusive. However, it was cancelled before its release and has since become lost media. IGN revealed the project in early 2009, showing never-before-seen art and gameplay from Winter. Despite its promise, publishers refused to fund it because the Wii market was dominated by casual, low-risk, in better words, shitty titles, leaving projects like Winter without support. I mean, why make a game with effort put into it when you can just pump out slop and make more money, right? Anyways, the story followed a woman who wakes up in a crashed ambulance during a supernatural snowstorm that isolates a small Midwestern town. Initially, the gameplay focused on true survival, like keeping warm, finding shelter, gathering resources, and managing the rapidly worsening blizzard. However, as strange creatures appear, the player discovers she has a mysterious connection to the storm itself. It's kinda like Silent Hill in concept, and it's a shame that this game never saw the light of day. In fact, a few other horror games that were planned for the Wii got cancelled too, which I'll talk about later in this video. Wii Music Fire. Wii Music Fire is a track by the very talented artist Quadeca that originally appeared on his 2015 mixtape Work in Progress. At the time, Quadeca was still an emerging artist, primarily known for releasing music on his YouTube channel. This track is one of his earliest released songs, and man, you could tell. This is from the whole corny YouTube rap era, so it's definitely a product of its time, but yeah, it's interesting to think that Quadeca started out by rapping over a Mii channel trap beat. Italian Post-it Promotion. The Italian Post-it Promotion was a little advertising venture that occurred in Italy to promote the Wii's Virtual Console. It was basically a series of artistic pieces done by the Leo Burnett Milan advertising agency. These pieces of art are the 2D sprites of Link, Donkey Kong, and Mario made entirely out of Post-it notes and placed on city streets. I don't really think this was a very popular ad campaign, unless maybe it was in Italy. I don't know, any Italians watching the video, let me know. Wii Party Commercial Casting. According to an archive of Nintendo's website from 2010, there was a casting call held where you could input some personal info and then potentially be selected to appear in a TV commercial for Wii Party. Not much is really known about this opportunity, but now if you go look back at Wii Party commercials from 2010, it's a possibility that these people were selected from this casting call on Nintendo's website. The Digicam print channel has beta Wii sounds. Well, yes, the Digicam print channel does have beta Wii sounds. Green Wii. The Green Wii refers to a scrapped color variant of the Wii that was shown off at E3 2005 and never again. It was only ever shown off when the Wii was still going by the Revolution name, so I guess the decision to not release a Green Wii was made pretty early on. Watchever. Watchever was a video-on-demand channel for the Wii only available in Germany, and it launched in 2013. It was tied to the German subscription streaming service of the same name, which aimed to be a local competitor to Netflix and Amazon Instant Video. Watchever as a service never expanded far beyond Germany, and shut down entirely in 2017 due to declining user interest and the growing dominance of global platforms. The Grinder. The Grinder is an unreleased first-person shooter game for the Nintendo Wii, developed by High Voltage Software. The game failed to meet its original release date in the fall of 2011, and has since remained unreleased. Although High Voltage Software has yet to make an official statement about what had happened to the game, it's obviously no longer in development and probably will never see the light of day. In the Grinder, players control one of 4 characters, each with their own unique attributes which can be upgraded as the game progresses. You would have had to use different techniques to defeat certain enemies, and would have access to a large number of weapons. The game would also offer players complete customization of the controls, and was stated to support Wii Motion Plus. Wii Tweet. Wii Tweet is a now defunct port of Twitter that could run on the Wii via Homebrew. As of April 21st, 2021, this third-party client has been unusable due to some API changes to Twitter. Guitar Hero KFC. The KFC and Guitar Hero World Tour collaboration was a campaign that launched in 2008, made to coincide with the release of the game. KFC offered a special fully loaded box meal that included limited edition Guitar Hero collector cups. These cups featured peel-off codes that could be entered online for chances to win prizes, ranging from free KFC meals to a grand ultimate game room package, which included a plasma TV, surround sound system, consoles, and games. KFC and also Coca-Cola branding would appear in the actual game itself too, mainly in the backgrounds. Papa John's x Wii Sports Resort. One of the weirdest promotional Wii crossovers I found was the Papa John's x Wii Sports Resort collab. Basically, Papa John's and Nintendo were giving away 300 free Wii Sports Resort prize packages in November of 2009. It was a sweepstakes event that you could enter in Papa John's website, which gave you the chance to win one of 300 Wii Sports Resort prize packages, those of which including a Wii console, Wii Sports Resort, Wii Remote and Nunchuck, and Wii Motion Plus accessory. As far as I know, you didn't even need to buy a pizza to enter, and you could actually sign yourself up 5 times per day. Additionally, there was also this other part of the promotion, or just an entirely different promotion entirely, I don't really know, where you could save $10 on Wii Sports Resort if you added 2 Coca-Cola products to your Papa John's order. Found out about this from an eBay listing for the promotion poster, so if anyone's trying to burn $15, here you go. Putting a Mii inside a Wii Remote. On the Wii's Mii channel, there's a pretty unknown feature where you can put a Mii inside your Wii Remote and then carry it over to other consoles. This is because the Wii Remote could store a very tiny amount of data, just enough to carry a few Mii characters. As cool as it sounds, I don't think this was ever really used that much. Super Mario Galaxy 2 E3 theme at the 2025 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. At the 2025 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, when the Mario balloon was ushered out, the same music that played when Super Mario Galaxy 2 was revealed at E3 was present. This theme, as far as I know, hasn't been used since E3, aside from appearing on the Nintendo Music app's release of Mario Galaxy 2's soundtrack, so that's a pretty neat little fact. Wii's in hotels. In Nintendo's tireless attempts to reach every single demographic possible, they started putting Wii's in many different hotels across the world. For example, 10 different Westin hotels from all over the US had Wii Sports and Wii Fit kiosks set up in their fitness rooms. The Wynn in Las Vegas also had complimentary Wii's set up in most of their rooms. You can find one of these Wii's listed on eBay for $4,000, as I believe it's the only one currently for sale in the entire world. Lastly, in 2008, Marriott partnered with Nintendo and put Wii's with Mario Galaxy, Wii Sports, and Mario Kart Wii in hotel rooms. Sony sues Kevin Butler. Jerry Lambert, known for portraying the fictional Sony executive Kevin Butler in PlayStation ads, became so closely associated with the character that Sony claims consumers could confuse him with the character even in other roles. Lambert's contract with Sony via his company Wildcat Creek included an exclusivity clause preventing him from working with competing game companies like Nintendo. Really shortly after the contract expired, Lambert appeared in Bridgestone commercials offering a Nintendo Wii with the purchase of tires. Sony sued Bridgestone and Wildcat Creek, alleging unfair competition, breach of contract, and trademark violation under the Lanham Act, claiming Bridgestone was using a character confusingly similar to Kevin Butler to capitalize on Sony's consumer goodwill. Bridgestone denied the claims, arguing that Sony has no protectable interest in the character and that Lambert's role in their Wii ad did not involve Kevin Butler in any way, portraying him only as a generic Bridgestone engineer. Man, they are just such fucking pricks for that. Like, they knew exactly what they were doing making this Bridgestone ad. Wii arrests. There could be a whole Wii arrest iceberg on its own because of how many stories there are about people being arrested over Wii-related endeavors. Firstly, we have a story that comes from an article titled Bordeaux Bandit Sent to Prison for Wii Theft. Scott DeLuca, a 25-year-old man from Cohoes, New York, was known as the Bordeaux Bandit because he allegedly stole expensive wines from all across the Northeast. But not only was DeLuca being accused of stealing rare wines from businesses in Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York, including a bottle valued at $4,800 from a Connecticut restaurant, but in Rhode Island, he pleaded no contest to taking a Nintendo Wii, games, a controller, and jewelry from a Cumberland apartment in 2011. A warrant had been issued after he failed to appear in court in June 2014. As part of his sentence, DeLuca was ordered to pay $6,188 in restitution and have no contact with the victim. DeLuca was arrested on January 8th in Smithfield, during which police discovered an outstanding arrest warrant from Connecticut related to his wine theft. These next two Wii arrests both happened for the same reason on two separate occasions. Starting with a man named Matthew Crippen from Anaheim, California, he was arrested in August of 2009 for modding his Nintendo Wii and distributing the tools to do so. Another very similar case occurred in Kyoto, Japan, where a 19-year-old college student was busted for hosting a website that demonstrated how to mod Wiis. Sadness. Sadness was a survival horror game in development by the company Nebris for the Wii and was actually one of the earliest titles rumored for the system. Announced in 2006, the game was pitched as a psychological horror title with a unique black and white art style and a focus on motion-controlled interactions. It was supposed to follow a Victorian-era woman named Maria and her blind son as they tried to survive mysterious supernatural horrors in Eastern Europe. The developers claimed the game would use the Wii Remote in unconventional ways, like simulating holding a lantern or using a scythe to fend off monsters, all while emphasizing atmosphere over combat. From the start, Sadness gained attention for its ambitious ideas, but also some skepticism due to the lack of concrete gameplay footage. Nebris repeatedly released concept art and written descriptions instead of in-game screenshots or trailers. They talked about features like branching storylines and deep psychological elements influenced by Slavic mythology. However, as the years went on, no playable build or even clear technical proof of the game's existence emerged. The team kept making these claims that got bolder and bolder, but there was little evidence that they had the resources or capability to actually deliver on their promises. Reports surfaced that the company had internal management issues and lacked funding to actually develop this ambitious project, so essentially, Sadness was sentenced to development hell. By around 2010, the studio shut down and Sadness was officially dead. Silent Hill Cold Heart. Silent Hill Cold Heart was a pitch for a new Silent Hill game that eventually became Silent Hill Shattered Memories. This pitch came to light when the developers at Climax Studios held a competition to give away 8 copies of the document to fans, who since have uploaded it to the internet so that other fans can enjoy it. Cold Heart was planned in 2007 by Climax for the Wii and would have been published by Konami. The game followed Jessica Chambers, an athletic but emotionally vulnerable college student. Jessica would have been recently talking to a psychiatrist after being plagued by horrific nightmares and being unable to sleep. These distressing circumstances lead to Jessica leaving her college town and going on a road trip to go back to visit her parents. On the way back, Jessica becomes caught in a blizzard and so follows an ambulance that leads her to the town of Silent Hill. This is where the game would begin, with Jessica stranded and needing somewhere to stay the evening. She explores the town, but now her nightmares start to become real. What's notable about this pitch is that it would have used the Wii Remote's motion controls in many different ways, such as to simulate a flashlight or for combat elements. Another feature that was mentioned was the integration of players' Mii characters, as well as their local weather and news. Climax wanted to be able to quote this in the game so that it would spook the player. It's a shame that this pitch was turned down because it sounds like a really interesting concept for a Silent Hill game on the Wii. Ikini no Yoru. Ikini no Yoru is a Japanese exclusive horror adventure game released for the Nintendo Wii in March of 2011. Developed and published by Marvelous Entertainment, it places players in the shoes of a group of 5 college students exploring a haunted mansion in the mysterious Tsukuyomi Ravine, where past human sacrifices are said to have taken place. Gameplay revolves around survival horror tropes, like there's no weapons, threats are deadly if touched, and of course you must use the Wii Remote as a flashlight, and surprisingly the Wii Balance Board for movement to avoid ghosts and other dangers while advancing through chapters. Despite its intriguing premise and some unique use of Wii peripherals, this game never saw an official release outside of Japan, remaining largely obscure in the West. Overall, it's a pretty neat title. However, the coolest thing about this game, in my opinion, is the fact that it's one of the few games which had a black box art. Death of the Mii People. It's just a really weird animation some guy made where his Miis get murdered. I don't know what compels someone to create this, but it comes from the earlier years of YouTube, so I guess this was just the internet horror culture from around that time. Wii Terrorist 2K12. The 2012 political satire film The Dictator features a very odd Wii Sports reference. In a scene from the movie, the dictator himself plays a game called Wii Terrorist, which is basically a parody of Wii Sports, but instead of lighthearted minigames like tennis or bowling, there's instead beheadings, among other things that I don't think I can even show on this channel. Hey y'all, thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, before I go, I just want to shout out all of my amazing channel members. Amory316, Josotron, Ku, Dimitri Cohen, Saris Ellen, Carson2004, Ali Elman, Dylan Osborne, Rubius Hogg, Gymnos2, and MMDude15. Thank you all for supporting. You know, I feel like I don't say it enough, but, you know, I really appreciate all of you watching and sticking around, whether you're a channel member or not. Alright, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, depending on when you're viewing this. Happy New Year, too, potentially. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.